A cabinet secretary is not a commentator. Bwana Waziri Aden Duale should know that. He is not a blogger. He is not a man throwing opinions into the wind. Hello and welcome to this podcast, Mike Tales with Midamba. I hope you're doing very well. Now, today's episode is necessary, but might not be that popular. It's about something that we all witnessed recently, where a cabinet secretary for health in Kenya is speaking live on national television and made claims about faith, healing, and the servants of God that were not only misleading, but unsupported. Now, this is not about emotions. It is not about defending personalities, and it is about truth, responsibility, and the danger of authorities speaking carelessly. So when a senior government official speak on live TV, words carry weight. They shape public opinion. They can inflame prejudice or uphold the truth. And that's why we must respond calmly, firmly, and factually. And this is my response. Based on what I watched, this is my response. Now, a cabinet secretary is not a commentator. Bwana Waziri Aden Duale should know that. He is not a blogger. He is not a man throwing opinions into the wind. He speaks as the face of an institution. Actually, he should speak as the face of the institution. When such a person repeats rumors, insinuations, or unverified claims on national television, that is not harmless commentary. It is a failure of responsibility. One of the most troubling claims made was the suggestion that Prophet Dr. Owuor sought knee surgery, and it was presented as a way to undermine faith and miracles because Waziri was responding to a particular message that was sent to the studio. And I'm very much shocked that even the journalist himself did not refute whatever Waziri said. That claim was not supported by evidence. No hospital, no dates, and no medical record. Just a repetition of online gossip. It is very sad to come from Waziri to just pick an online gossip and run with it. Now, that should alarm every Kenyan, regardless of faith. It should definitely alarm you. If public officials begin to rely on social media and instead of verification, then problem is bigger than religion. It is institutional decay. Another dangerous narrative pushed was the idea that faith and medicine are opposite. That is historically false, biblically false, scientifically unnecessary. The Ministry of Repentance and Holiness has never instructed people to abandon medication. This should be very clear. Never have they instructed people to abandon medication. People always continue with their treatment. Doctors examine them. Tests are done. Changes are documented. And until the doctors verify that that person has been healed, completely healed, with evidence, documented evidence produced, and it shows that this person has been completely healed, that is when they will stop their medication. That is not anti-medicine. That is medicine observing outcomes of prayer. Reducing this to mockery or insinuation is not scientific skepticism. It is ideological hostility. If healings are false, investigate them, Bwana Waziri. Publish the findings and let the facts speak for themselves. But you cannot do two things at once. You cannot say there is no evidence while admitting at the same time that investigations are ongoing. That is logically dishonest. Now, you cannot dismiss documentation you have not examined, Bwana Waziri. A mature state does not fear investigation, and the Ministry of Repentance and Holiness has openly welcomed it. What is unacceptable is using a national platform to prejudge outcomes and frame believers as irresponsible before due process is completed. Now, that damages trust, not faith. This conversation is not about miracles alone. It is about whether authority respects the truth, whether leaders understand the weight of their words, and whether public office will be exercised with discipline or impulse. Faith is not on trial here. I believe Kenya deserves better than insinuation presented as fact, better than rumors spoken with confidence, better than selective skepticism. Leadership demands restraint, verification, and fairness. This podcast is not an attack. It is a call for responsibility. Let investigations proceed. Let evidence speak for themselves. But let us stop misleading the public. Authority should clarify, not confuse, inform and not inflame. Truth does not fear scrutiny, but also it does not survive carelessness. Thank you for tuning in. This is Mike Tales with Midamba.